You followed every constipation cure on the internet. You doubled your salad, sprinkled bran on yogurt, popped fiber gummies after dinner. Even gagged down the psyllium sludge your doctor swore would work. And yet, nothing. You wake up bloated, spend 10+ minutes on the toilet, and leave feeling heavier than when you sat down. If fiber fixes constipation, why aren't you fixed? Tonight, we expose the truth no influencer, cereal box, or even many dietitians will tell you. Fiber can keep you constipated. If you're eating it the wrong way, in the wrong form, or with the wrong gut environment. The failed fiber frustration. Picture this. You start your day with high-fiber bran flakes, 12G fiber. Lunch. A whole wheat wrap stuffed with raw veggies, another 8G. Dinner. Quinoa salad plus roasted chickpeas, 11G. By evening, you've hit a whopping 35 grams, well above the RDA. But inside, your colon feels like a traffic jam of dry gravel. Why? Because fiber isn't one magic monolith. It's more like a toolbox. Grab the wrong wrench, and you strip the bolt instead of turning it. Most people unknowingly grab the gravel. Insoluble, dehydrating fibers, when what their sluggish gut really needs is a hydrating gel and a slip-in slide of healthy mucus. The myth we've all swallowed. More fiber equals faster transit. This mantra ignores 3 critical factors. Fiber type, soluble versus insoluble. Water availability. Gut wall condition plus microbiota health. Add the wrong type to an inflamed or dehydrated intestine, and you create constipation 2.0. Bigger, drier, harder stools that scratch tissue, trigger spasms, and slow movement even more. Meet insoluble's dark side. Insoluble fibers. Think wheat bran, raw kale stems, unpopped popcorn hulls. Act like microscopic scouring pads. In a well-hydrated, swift-moving colon, they add helpful bulk, but in a colon already moving at half speed, they behave like shrapnel. They steal water from stool as they enlarge. They irritate nerve endings, provoking cramping, not propulsion. They thicken mucus defensively, creating friction. The result? A dry, lumpy Bristol type 1 or 2 log that parks in the sigmoid and refuses to exit. Why no one warned you? Fiber marketing revolves around grams, not function. Food labels list total fiber, without telling you that 95% might be insoluble. Meanwhile, social media nutrition tips oversimplify. Eat whole grain everything. Even many doctors give generic advice. Increase fiber, because it's quick, non-pharmacological, and usually harmless. They rarely dive into fiber subclasses, hydration physics, or microbiota prerequisites. But that is what separates relief from ruin. For clues fiber is failing you. The more fiber, more bloat paradox. Each new salad or bran bar leaves you looking 6 months pregnant. Dry rabbit pellets. Stools are small, hard, and multiple trips are needed to feel done. Straining despite 30G plus per day. You track and take on an app, yet still rate straining 5 on a 0 to 10 scale. Explosive gas followed by nothing. Insoluble scraps ferment poorly, producing methane, a gas proven in studies to actually slow peristalsis. If these sound familiar, fiber isn't your friend right now. The hidden players, water, mucus, microbes. Imagine your colon as a water slide. Water is the running stream. Mucus is the slippery lining. Microbes are maintenance workers who keep the track smooth. Dump a load of dry, scratchy fiber with no water, the slide grinds to a halt. Strip away mucus through inflammation or a low prebiotic diet. Riders stool, scrape metal, and stop. Fire the workers, killing good bacteria with processed food or antibiotics. And debris builds up. More dry fiber only blocks the exit faster. The truth no one tells you, until now. Fiber helps only when the colon's water, mucus, and microbial balance are ready to handle it. Eat hydrophilic, gel-forming fibers first. Chia, oats, psyllium mixed in water. Restore microbiota with fermented foods, and then sprinkle insoluble roughage for finishing bulk. Reverse the order and you cement your insides. That's the revelation mainstream advice misses, and exactly what we'll decode in the next 3 parts. What really happens to dry bran inside a dehydrated colon? Spoiler, it turns into sandpaper. How soluble fibers create a slick gel that slides waste out. If you mix them properly, why rebuilding the mucus layer and feeding butyrate-producing bacteria is the linchpin that lets any fiber work again. By the end, you'll know why you're still constipated even on high-fiber diets, and the step-by-step fix no one told you. What really happens inside your colon when fiber backfires? You swallow a spoonful of dry bran flakes and picture them sweeping your intestines like a virtuous broom. But zoom inside a sluggish, slightly dehydrated colon, and the scene looks very different. Each husk is a shard. Every kale stem a stiff twig. The healthy seeds embedded in your whole grain bread resemble tiny gravel pieces. In a gut that's already moving at half speed and low on protective mucus, these particles don't sweep, they scratch, sponge up water, and jam. Let's walk through the journey meal by meal and understand why insoluble fiber can morph from hero to saboteur. 1. Mouth, stomach. The swelling begins. Insoluble fibers are cellulose-heavy plant cell walls. They resist stomach acid and digestive enzymes, which is good. They reach the colon intact. But they also begin absorbing water immediately. If you ate bran cereal dryish with only a splash of milk, the flakes arrive in your stomach like thirsty sponges. They swell, steal moisture from surrounding chyme, and start compacting. Stomach stretch receptors sense a larger volume and delay emptying. That means the rest of your meal sits longer, fermenting, gassing, and generating the post-meal bloat many people blame on beans or broccoli, when the real culprit is the bran soaking up every available fluid. 2. Small intestine, fermentation bottleneck. By the time this fibrous mass reaches the small intestine, it's bulkier and drier. Pancreatic enzymes struggle to penetrate. Fats and proteins in the meal remain partially undigested, leaking into the colon where they'll putrefy into foul-smelling compounds that slow motility. Add inadequate water intake. You skip that 300 milliliters glass after breakfast, and osmotic balance tips. Instead of moving forward, the small intestine pulls more water out of chyme to dilute bile acids. The bolus becomes, paradoxically, harder the farther it travels. 3. Ileocecal valve, the block that pauses everything. When a dry, bulky load meets the ileocecal valve, peristaltic waves must be strong to push it through. Sluggish guts, often slowed by stress, lack of sleep, or methane-producing microbes, generate weak waves. The mass stalls. Water continues to be reabsorbed. Your body, sensing an obstruction, tightens smooth muscle, causing that dull ache on the lower right side, many mistake for appendicitis. Insoluble fiber cannot help here. It needs a large intestine's wider lumen and abundant microbes, but it's stuck at the gate. 4. Cologne, from sponge to sandpaper. Assuming the mass finally enters a colon, two situations unfold. A. Adequate water plus healthy mucus, success. The sponge fiber stays hydrated, creates bulk, stimulates stretch receptors, and moves along. B. Dehydration plus thin mucus, failure. Most chronically constipated people fall here, with low water and damaged mucus, from processed foods, inflammation, or low butyrate. The fiber transforms into sandpaper. It drags against the mucosa, causing microabrasions. Your colon defends itself by releasing histamine-rich inflammatory fluids that swell tissues and ironically narrow the lumen, slowing transit further. The scratch triggers enteric nerves to spasm. Spasms push stool forward bit, then halt, leading to the classic stop-and-go cramps that never amount to a full bowel movement. 5. Gas chemistry. Methane, not hydrogen. Many people believe gas equals movement, but the type of gas matters. Hydrogen gas, produced by fast-fermenting soluble fibers, mildly stimulates motility. Methane, produced when insoluble residue sits too long, slows transit by 60%, proven in breath test studies. The more insoluble fiber stagnates, the more methane-dominant your microbiome becomes, locking you in a slow poop cycle. 6. The 3 hidden requirements for fiber to work. Gel-forming ability. Without gel, bulk is friction. Hydration. Minimum 15 milliliters water per gram of total fiber. 2 kiwis plus 300 milliliters water meet the ratio. Bran muffin plus espresso do not. Mucus integrity. A healthy mucosal layer is built from butyrate, zinc, vitamin A, and restful sleep. No mucus, no slide. If any of these are missing, throwing more fiber at constipation is like adding dry straw to a clogged drain. 7. Why your doctor's psyllium advice sometimes bombs. Psyllium can work when fully dissolved. Most people, however, sprinkle into half a cup of water, chug gelatinous clumps, and chase with coffee. Undissolved psyllium swells later in the gut, replicating the bran nightmare. Proper method. Mix 1 tablespoon psyllium in 300 milliliters water, shake. Let sit 2 minutes until uniformly thick. Drink. Immediately follow with another 300 milliliters water. Skip that, and you risk forming a gummy cork instead of a lubricating gel. 8. Microbiota matter. Without butyrate, fiber is futile. Fiber feeds the bacteria. True, soluble fiber feeds them. Insoluble fiber barely ferments. If you have low butyrate-producing strains, Faecalibacterium roseburia, even perfect hydration won't save you. The mucus layer they generate stays thin. The colon stays less slippery. Fermented foods, kefir. Resistant starch, cooled rice. And polyphenol-rich fruits, kiwi. Rebuild these strains. Only then does added fiber fulfill its promise. Key takeaways of Part 2. Fiber fails when water is low, mucus is thin, or microbes are imbalanced. Insoluble scratch fiber can worsen constipation by drying and inflaming stool. Soluble, gel-forming fiber plus hydration plus microbiome, repair equals success. In Part 3, we'll reveal how to rebuild the mucus layer and microbiome, so your colon starts acting like a water slide again. We'll dissect butyrate production, show you the foods that boost it, and explain why simply adding probiotics may not work unless you feed them the right prebiotic gels first. Ready to move from theory to gut wall rescue? Meet me in Part 3, and let's turn sandpaper into silk. Rebuilding the mucus layer and microbiome so fiber can finally work. By now you understand why dry, scratchy fiber can turn your colon into rush hour gridlock. The logical next step isn't eat even more fiber, it's fix the roadway. In gut terms, that roadway is made of 2 things, a slippery mucus layer and a vibrant butyrate-producing microbiome. Without them, even the best hydrated, gel-forming fiber will stall. Let's dive into how to rebuild both, and why most people get the order backward. 1. The mucus layer, your cologne's Teflon. What it is: a 2-tiered gel produced by goblet cells. The inner layer is dense, germ-free, glued to the epithelium. The outer layer is looser, home to trillions of microbes that ferment fiber and secrete metabolites. Think of it as oil on a slip-and slide. Without it, everything sticks and tears. How it gets damaged: low butyrate. Goblet cells underproduce mucin. High omega-6 oxidized fats and alcohol erode the layer. Stress hormones shrink villi, thin mucus. Low vitamin A and zinc, poor mucin cross-linking. Signs yours is thin. Stringy, hard stool despite water. Anal fissures or bleeding after wiping. Abdominal burning after insoluble fiber. 2. Butyrate, the mucus fuel. Butyrate is a short-chain fatty acid, SCFA, produced when friendly bacteria ferment soluble fiber and resistant starch. It is the primary energy source for colonocytes and the on switch for goblet cell mucin genes. Key fact: colonocytes burn butyrate first, glucose only under starvation. A low butyrate colon is like a factory without electricity. Repairs halt, mucus dwindles, and transit slows. 3. Meet your mucus mechanics. F. Prosnitzi and roseburia. These 2 bacterial genera makeup is asymptotically equal to 20% of a healthy microbiota, yet are depleted in 70% of chronic constipation patients. They thrive on viscous, water-retentive fibers, not rough insoluble shards. Feed them right, and they pump out butyrate, thickening mucus within days. 4. 3-stage rehab plan. Stage A, calm inflammation, days 1 to 2. Inflamed tissue rejects mucus like burnt skin rejects lotion. Actions: eliminate fried foods and trans fats, largest irritants. Replace coffee on empty stomach with warm gingermint tea, calms nerves. Add 500 milligrams curcumin plus black pepper supplement. shown to drop colon NF-kappa B activity 25% in 48H. Stage B, seed and feed, days 3 to 7. Now introduce microbes and their favorite substrates. Seed, 100 milliliters plain kefir twice daily, diverse lactobacillus, plus kefir polysaccharide. If dairy-free, 1 tablespoon water kefir grains in coconut water. Feed, prebiotic trifecta. Partially hydrolyzed guar gum, PHGG. 5G in 250 milliliters water ferments almost exclusively to butyrate. Resistant starch RS, 3. Half a cup cooled rice or potatoes at dinner. Kiwi or papaya as late-night enzyme snack. See earlier videos. Result. A 2020 study showed PHG plus kefir raised fecal butyrate by 45% in 7 days, doubling stool frequency. Stage C restores slip days 8+. With mucus thickening, add moderate insoluble fiber for bulk without trauma. Switch white rice, brown rice soaked 8H, phytate reduced. 1 tablespoon ground flaxseed at breakfast, mucilage coat stool. Steamed leafy greens drizzle with olive oil. Magnesium relaxes muscle, oil lubricates. 5. Hydration timing, the often missed key. Your colon reabsorbs water late in digestion. If you drink 400 milliliters right before sleep, much of it bypasses colon absorption. Instead, upon waking, 300 milliliters warm water plus pinch. Sea salt equals osmotic primer. With soluble fiber doses, another 250 milliliters. Stop 90 minutes before bed to allow full absorption. Rule of thumb, 15 milliliters water per gram of added fiber. 6. Sleep and the MMC, migrating motor complex. The MMC is your gut's janitorial crew, sweeping leftovers toward the colon every 90 to 120 minutes between meals and during deep sleep. Fragmented sleep shuts it down, letting residue stagnate. Aim for 7.5 H dark sleep. No food, 3H pre-bed. Magnesium 200 milligrams glycinate at dusk. Improves sleep plus relaxes colon. 7. Myths busted, truths embraced. Myth, just take a probiotic pill. Truth, without soluble fiber substrate. Introduce microbes starve in hours. Myth, more roughage equals better. Truth, without mucus and water, roughage is a cactus in a desert. Myth, any fiber powder will do. Truth, PHGG, inulin, psyllium, and wheat bran behave radically differently in the gut. Coming next, Part 4. We repaired the slip and slide. In Part 4, we provide the step-by-step real-world plan. Which fibers to introduce first, second, third. How to balance soluble/insoluble ratios by meal. A 14-day schedule that graduates you from mucogel rebuild to effortless daily elimination. Ready to turn theory into a morning routine you'll rely on for life? Meet me in the finale. Your colon's happy ending is just one video away. Part 4, the 14-day Fiber Fix Protocol. From dry gravel to daily flow. You now know why dry, insoluble fiber can stall a sluggish gut. Part 2, how mucus and butyrate make fiber glide, not grind. Part 3. The final step is turning that science into a day-by-day roadmap that anyone, busy parent, student, or 9 to 5 desk jockey, can follow without expensive supplements or complicated meal plans. Welcome to the 14-day Fiber Fix Protocol, a graduated schedule that strips out the scratchy culprits, rehydrates and gels the colon, rebuilds the mucus layer, reintroduces balanced bulk only after the slide is slick again. Follow it and you should see. Softer, type 4 stools by day 5 to 7. A predictable morning urge by day 10. Dramatic drop in bloating and straining by day 14. Let's dive in. Days 1 to 3. Calm and hydrate. Goals. Lower inflammation. Flood tissues with water. Begin seeding microbes. Eliminate bran cereal, raw kale salads, popcorn hulls, fried snacks. Morning ritual. 300 milliliters warm water plus pinch sea salt plus 5G PHGG. Partially hydrolyzed guar gum. Meals. Breakfast. Overnight oats rolled, not steel cut, soaked in almond milk. Lunch. Zucchini soup blended, low in soluble fiber, high water. Dinner: baked salmon, mashed sweet potato, steamed carrots. Probiotic seed: 100 milliliters kefir with each meal. Movement: 10-minute walk after lunch and dinner. Expected: less abdominal pressure. Stool may remain hard but begins to moisten. Days 4 to 7, seed and gel. Goals: feed butyrate producers, thicken mucus, begin gentle propulsion. Continue PHG 5G morning plus 5G evening. Introduce resistant starch: half a cup cooled rice at lunch or cooled potato salad at dinner. Evening enzyme snack: 2 kiwis with skin or 1 cup ripe papaya, whichever you tolerate better. Magnesium support: sautéed spinach, 150 milligrams mg, with olive oil bowel flow. Hydration rule: greater than or equal to 2 L water/day, time 250 milliliters with each fiber dose. Expected: Bristol scores shift from 1 to 2, 3. First spontaneous morning urge often appears. Days 8 to 10, build slip and strength. Goals: restore slip and slide mucus. Begin adding control bulk. Reduce PHGG to 5G once daily morning to prevent excess gas. Add psyllium GL, 1 teaspoon stirred into 300 milliliters water mid-afternoon. Let sit 2 minutes, then drink. Follow with 250 milliliters water. Flaxseed: 1 tablespoon ground onto breakfast oats. Mucilage plus omega-3. Leafy greens now raw, finely shredded and dressed in olive oil-based vinaigrette. Fat/lemon break, insoluble fibers. Sleep hygiene: lights out by 10:30 p.m. to allow migrating motor complex sweeps. Expected: stool forms single log, minimal strain. Gas volume decreases as microbes adapt. Days 11 to 14, bulk with balance. Goals: reintroduce insoluble fiber smartly. Lock in daily rhythm. Swap half white rice, brown rice, soaked 8H, or integrate whole grain sourdough. Veggie escalation: add 1 cup steamed broccoli or roasted cauliflower daily, but pair with at least 300 milliliters water. Rotation rule: insoluble veggies at 1 meal, soluble dominant, oats, chia pudding at another, never both bulky meals back to back. Hydration maintenance: 15 milliliters water per gram total fiber, track with phone. Core activation: 60-second plank plus 10 slow squats morning, twisting stretches before bed. Expected end state: daily, effortless type 4 stool, urge within 1H of waking, 2 bloating episodes/week. Maintenance formula after day 14: 40% soluble gel fiber, oats, chia, psyllium, PHEG. 30% water-rich fruits and cooked veggies, kiwi, papaya, zucchini, carrots. 20% gentle insoluble brown rice, soaked nuts. 10% indulgence, roasted potatoes, dark chocolate. Stick to hydration ratio, 15 milliliters per G fiber, and you'll rarely need a laxative again. Ready to begin?